Thank you for listening to this podcast from TRE, Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain and around the world. For more information, please visit TRE.radio.
TRE in the afternoon. Presented by Hannah Murray.
Good afternoon. It's just gone 5:05. You are now listening to Men Talk. With me in the studio today is Andreas Gallardo, Steve Holmes and Chris Arms. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you all for coming in. If you are listening at home and you want to get involved, you can. Here's how.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95.
What a beautiful day. It's a wonderful life.
Let's start with food. It's always a good place to start. Couch potatoes can rejoice. TV dinners really do taste better, according to a poll. The sofa is where Britons enjoy eating most, with 9 in 10 admitting it's their favourite dining spot. Some 81% believe meals are tastier when consumed in places that bring comfort and joy. Sounds like a Christmas carol. So don't be embarrassed. Be honest. Do you like a TV dinner on the sofa, or do you always sit up at the dining table?
Probably most evenings we end up sitting on the sofa.
Yeah.
If there's just the two of us, if there's more, we probably end up round the table. But, 90% of the year there's only two of us and the dog in the house. So,
Yeah.
It's just kind of easier.
Easy, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I associate sitting around the table when you have people over. You're like, oh, let's lay the table then, and it's something you do. But no,
it is a habit, I've got to say.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a habit you get into. But occasionally, if you use the table because you're having something that requires a bit more attention and might slide off your tray or whatever.
That's true, yeah.
It's actually quite good to sit at the table.
Yeah, it is. I know what you mean.
I know. I think you just get out of it. It's a habit thing. You get out of it. It's difficult.
Not being British, I'm wondering if you're going to say something completely different.
I always do,
Yes.
on every subject.
Uh-huh.
I'm totally against having any kind of food on the sofa. Totally against it.
Yeah.
You get crumbs on the sofa. In this hot weather, you might get ants that they just like, to jump. It's absolutely terrible. And it's nice. A meal, it's a very important thing. That's the main thing that we do. And it's nice to have a nice table, nice setting, or well presented.
And you do that every night?
Every night.
I feel like some dress for dinner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Almost. Almost. But it's a nice occasion for the day to relax and have a nice dinner set. But the sofa is very uncomfortable. I always drop something, and I think most people do, let's be fair. So it makes the sofa dirty, and then you can't know. I'm totally against it. I'm sorry, guys. I know.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, you wanted a controversial sort of opinion. That's mine.
Fine, yeah.
It's a personal thing, right?
Definitely. But it makes sense what you're saying. I'm going, yeah, that makes sense. But then I'll still probably have dinner on the sofa and drop stuff, but not on the sofa. I drop stuff on the floor, but I'll pick it up again. We'll just leave it there.
I feel really bad now. I'm going to change my habits.
Oh, no.
Well, at least for one night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's try doing it Andreas's way and see how we get on. We'll convene in a week. Christmas. Sorry, C word.
No.
It's still October, only just. This is talking about Christmas dinner. So, and again, this is obviously different countries, different traditions. So this is talking about Brits in the UK. For many of us, the traditional Christmas dinner with turkey and all the trimmings is the highlight of the season's festivities. But it seems that so-called millennials are beginning to shun the roast, with more than a fifth saying they will be serving curry, pasta or pizza instead this year. So how do you feel about Christmas dinner? And have you ever, or would you ever, do something completely different?
Gotta be turkey.
Yeah, you always have to have turkey.
Has to be turkey, yeah, without a doubt.
So you like the food traditions, and
absolutely,
you expect all the different things, and
absolutely.
I think it's inevitable. Things are going to change over time, right? You turn the clock back X hundred years, it was probably, and it was goose, wasn't it? I think was the
goose, yeah.
So I think it kind of depends. But I mean, if people want to do curry on Christmas Day, have at it. I mean, it's always been turkey. I mean, I know people that do things like beef Wellington and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but I think I can't think of a year we haven't had turkey. I'm trying to think. No, pretty much.
Yeah.
Of some form or another.
Well, I remember one year in Spain, quite a few years ago now, a big family gathering. We went to one of our favourite chiringuitos in Marbella on the beach and had calamari and pil and completely normal Spanish lunch that wasn't a traditional British lunch at all. And we were all on the beach in the sunshine with Santa hats on, and it was really nice. It was, why not? You know, it was quite a fun alternative. I'm not obsessed about traditions, to be honest, so I'm not.
I've never been a great fan of turkey.
Okay,
but I've had English traditional Christmas with turkey and everything.
Yeah.
I think the most fun is the preparation of it.
Yeah,
being in the kitchen. There's a lot to do, and that's quite fun, you know. The end result, I mean... turkey is not my favourite, but as you rightly said, you know, things will change over time. People will get sort of different, you know, choices there. In Spain, turkey is not, although some people do have it. There are quite a different options. Growing up, the traditional Christmas lunch would be fish.
Yeah.
Baked in the oven and everything. So it's nice to have a little bit of a variety. Just every year turkey gets boring, you know. So one year you can have turkey, another year maybe fish, another year.
It's funny you say that, because I was just thinking, you know, for most people... Not everybody, but for most people, the only time they will have turkey is Christmas Day. Whereas fish, correct me if I'm wrong, is it a special type of fish, or is it a fish that you would easily have throughout the rest of the year?
Yeah, you could have it throughout the rest of the year. Yeah, it's not a fish that you would have only Christmas Day. Just fish you would have
just a nice
any
fish.
week. Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
not a specific fish. It's whatever fish you...
It's not. I mean, my mum used to make a red sea bream.
Nice.
It was very nice, but I mean, you could choose a different fish. As I said, there's more variety to Christmas lunch, that you would have the set, you know, turkey. It has to be roasted. You don't cook it any other way. And the trimmings are the same. The vegetables, the roast potatoes and everything is all very standard and set, you know. And as I said, it can get boring. So it's nice to have a little surprise. This year we'll do X or X. Well, it's quite exciting.
We had a few vegan Christmases over the years.
Why?
So I have to say, no, but a nut roast done well, and my husband does do a good nut roast, and my dad does as well. So, you know, you can put in what you like, and as long as it's not dry, it's nutty and seedy and gorgeous, and you have it with the gravy and everything else. And so, yeah, you have all the trimmings. You know, the roast potatoes are some of the best bits, and a lot of people, as you say, aren't that fussed on the turkey. So actually, with all the trimmings and an alternative to turkey, maybe not vegan if you don't want vegan, but can definitely go down well.
Yeah, I think you can understand living here, right? Why something like fish, because but you know, what are the chances living in the UK in the home counties getting a decent piece of fish that hasn't done about 1 million food miles and wasn't swimming over? No, it's a week since it was in the sea, kind of thing.
Yeah, no,
so
absolutely,
I think
not the same.
that's kind of the difference.
Yeah, but in the UK you've got good beef as well. So in 1 year you could do the same sort of setup, but instead of turkey, change it for beef or or lamb as well. You know, it doesn't necessarily has to be fish, but just a little bit something different. You know,
a lot of people do ham for Christmas as well.
Ham. And then just with your trimmings to make them a little bit more excited, you know, like the Brussels sprouts, you can put them in a pan with a little bit of bacon,
definitely bacon and chestnuts and cranberries,
and the greens, you can make a nice alioli to go on top of that, you know, so just to give a bit more flavour there.
Coming to your house.
Absolutely, you can definitely jazz them. I love the sprouts, but if you sort of parboil them and then fry them a little bit, so you get a bit of charring on them and chuck some other things in, whether it's meat or mushrooms or chestnuts or lovely.
But in truth, the best part of Christmas dinner is Boxing Day, when you're doing the leftovers and turkey and
the turkey sandwiches while you watch the football.
Turkey sandwiches, definitely. And would you have a tomato or a brown sauce with your turkey sandwiches?
Stuffing.
Oh, stuffing. Okay, turkey and stuffing. Yeah. It can sometimes be a bit dry though. The next day,
mayonnaise.
I might add a bit of mayonnaise. That makes more sense. Mayonnaise.
Just mention HP sauce. I haven't had HP sauce for maybe last the last time it was maybe 15 years ago.
Really?
And I just suddenly sort of had a vision of HP sauce. I'm going to get some.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hannah.
I've never had it, you know. I think I tried it, I dipped my finger in it to taste it about 30 years ago and went, no, I don't like that. And I've never even considered having it since.
Yeah.
I can't see a bottle of HP sauce on your table, though, when you're having dinner.
No, I haven't had one for many years. But I had it, and I think it's quite nice, you know, with those plastic sausages that you have in the UK.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so it is Halloween tomorrow, and there's an article here talking about ghosts. It is news to gladden the hearts of any Ghostbusters out there, with research revealing that 1 in 3 of us believe that spooks and ghouls are real. More than a quarter think it's possible to talk to the dead, while 16% of those surveyed reported going through a ghostly or extraordinary experience. Now again, don't be embarrassed, don't feel judged, be honest. Do you believe in ghosts? Or the afterlife, if you like, the spirit world when we die, that kind of thing?
Well, if you'd have asked me sort of 5 years ago, I'd have said definitely not. Mm-hmm. But 5 years ago, I was walking up in the north of England, and there was old cotton mills and the sort of water, the lakes that used to feed the cotton mills with water. So it's like 6:30 in the morning, I'm taking the dog for a walk. It was Springer Spaniel, so it's everywhere. Yeah, Springer Spaniel was everywhere, and it came back really sheepish. So it's strange. So as I walked further down, I saw 2 guys carrying what I thought looked like a body.
Oh, wow.
Across the water.
Yeah.
And so as I walked down there was nothing apart from this eerie, cold feeling. So when I got back, it was definitely not, so I didn't believe it. And I went back and was telling somebody, said, yeah, it's somebody carrying a bale of cotton from one factory to the other.
Wow.
In the 18th century.
That's amazing.
And so from now on,
So
I
you
probably
do
believe it,
yeah. And often with these things, it takes an experience like that, because I think, people have always heard stories from other people, whether it's people they know or not, and go, oh, yeah, whatever, as if there's any reason why you would make something like that up. But often you need to kind of experience these things for yourself. Have you ever had an experience like that?
No, and I guess I struggle with the concept scientifically. It doesn't seem... It just, if you look at it scientifically, the facts to me don't add up right. But maybe I'll be proved wrong at some point. But at the moment, I just can't see a way to rationalise it.
No.
Maybe in 5 years' time, I'll have a different view of the world because I'll have an experience.
Yeah.
But at the moment, no, I can't scientifically see how it makes sense.
So with the afterlife and all of that?
No, it just doesn't. To me, it doesn't. There's something missing in my mind for it to be proven to me, and maybe somebody will figure out what that is. But at the moment, the evidence to me doesn't make any sense.
No,
some things you just can't prove.
No, absolutely. Science isn't always right and can't prove everything, I suppose one could say.
Yeah.
My Springer Spaniel knows best.
Yes, exactly. He's the chief scientist. Have you? I'm assuming you haven't had an experience.
I haven't had an experience.
No.
I'd love to have an experience like that. You know, it's just quite exciting. But no, I don't believe in ghosts. I haven't had an experience like that. However, now that you mentioned something recent, as you just did, I heard an interview with a neurologist. Who is talking about science, and he's investigating the near-death experiences of people across the world, and he's got evidence of about 4,000 or 5,000 people that they all tell the same story when they have a near-death experience, a feeling of peace and tranquility, and they just go above the body and seeing the room from the top, from the ceiling down, and seeing people and everything. And apparently that it's quite something that happens. But one of the things he says in the interview is that these people are nearly dead, but they're not dead.
Yeah.
So, of course, you can't talk to dead people because they're dead.
Well, I mean...
But it's interesting to see that there is so much evidence of that kind of experience with people that then come back to life. The guy explained it. They were clinically dead, whatever that means. But yeah, apart from that interview with this guy, who seemed quite a serious guy, he wasn't like trying. He said, "I'm not trying to convince anyone of this."
No, absolutely.
It was quite interesting. But other than that, I've never had an experience, and I don't believe in ghosts. And to be honest, I'm going to doubt the findings of these neurologists anyway.
Okay.
Who knows? You know, we could all be sitting here in 5 years' time, and the evidence might go, "Well, we were wrong." Who knows? But I think for me, it's there's just no scientific basis for it.
I mean, I have interviewed countless mediums and psychics over the years, and I think it's less plausible to think that they are all complete charlatans that are talking absolute nonsense, when a lot of them have had really successful careers, if you like, have written books, and there are countless stories and testimonials from different people and I know plenty of people who have had incredible experiences with mediums and going to see a medium who they don't know, they don't post on social media, blah, 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 all the kind of things that you could skeptically say that they could find out about a person, and they've been told something really specific about a loved one who's died that they couldn't have known.
But that success, I think, is in part that people want to believe it. If you go to a charlatan like this, they said, "Oh, I'm a medium, I talk to people, they're beyond or whatever," and you want to believe it, you end up believing it because you want to. And as you said, there is no scientific evidence that that's taken place at all. But some people say, well, believe it because you want to believe it, really. So these people ride on that.
I know what you're saying.
And they're successful
but when it's
because,
something really specific in your top drawer, you've kept the ring that I gave you for your 10th birthday, something like that. That's not a case of, I really want to believe that. That is fact that they could not know. It's that kind of stuff that I think is really difficult to argue with. I know what you mean. Is there anyone in the room who's got someone in the spirit world that begins with the letter J, and you go, "Oh my God, yeah, that's my auntie," and I get that. That's ridiculous, and your people will be clutching at wanting to think, "Oh, they must be talking to me," and "Oh, it's a female. Oh, yes, that must be my auntie then," and getting really excited. I get that totally, but when it's specific information, I think that's difficult to. Why are you shaking your head?
I'm just struggling. I'm struggling with it. It's like I'm for the same reason. I think it's like there's just, as I say, prove me wrong.
Yeah.
In the spirit of Halloween, you're scaring me now, Hannah.
And everyone has got a ring that they got when they were 10 in their drawer anyway.
I haven't. I've been to see lots of mediums, and I have had lots of bad experiences. I really have. And I've been desperate for it to be true, like you say. And they've just given wrong information continuously. So I totally get that it can't work, but I know lots of people who have had it work. So I do think that it can be a thing, but
I think you want to believe, really.
No, I do, but I always have believed, and I won't go into much more, but I have seen it happen for many, many people.
Okay.
So I do believe it, but
We'll leave it as a question mark then.
I'm not stopping other people believing, it's just personally.
Fine, I get that. That's what I mean. I think often with these things, unless you've had an experience yourself, it's so hard to understand and believe. I definitely get that. So Halloween, does it mean anything to you? Is it something you've ever celebrated? Is it something you're celebrating? Is it just another day that means absolutely nothing? How do we feel about Halloween?
Just another day that means absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I think it's different, right? The kids are 28 and 32, 33, so it's like, really, now we've got way beyond the trick-or-treating point. Mm-hmm. We've got, remember the stuff we did as kids, right? I mean, when we were kids, we went out and did things, and things like set fireworks in milk bottles in people's gardens and stuff like that. The stuff you get into serious
old school fun.
The stuff you get into serious trouble for doing if you did.
Yeah.
I think now, it's. I think if I turn the clock back, right, when I used to have big teams in offices, the offices tended to do Halloween parties.
Okay.
And the adults would bring their kids in, but less and less people are in offices these days, and workforces are more globally distributed. So I think that element's missing. And I think once you get to say, you get to a point, maybe at some point if we have grandchildren, we'll feel differently again.
Yeah. So as an adult, have you ever dressed up for Halloween?
No. No.
I knew you were going to say that.
No. I mean, in Spain, it's fairly recent. The Halloween celebrations used to be traditionally All Saint Days. Is a day where families remember the dead in the family and they go to the cemetery. It's a bank holiday, by the way, in Spain, the 1st of November. Then you go to the cemetery to put flowers to, parents or grandparents or whatever. So this thing of the Halloween, of the dressing up and the parties and everything else is fairly new. I would say, 10 years, maybe 12, that it's been, and it's more for children than adults. Children, so on the basis of that, no, I don't celebrate it, and no, I don't dress up, and I don't have children, so I don't have anything to do with it. And
what if you were invited to a Halloween party that was fancy dress, that was all adults?
I went to a tennis tournament once that it was a fancy dress tennis tournament of Halloween.
And did you dress up as a tennis star?
I did. I was a witch.
Really?
I dressed as a witch and played tennis dressed as a witch for that particular tournament, but I won't do it again.
I'm glad you've done it once.
And I lost in first round anyway.
There we go.
You were distracted by all the hair. Have either of you dressed up?
Yeah.
Not that I can remember.
No.
I don't think so.
I think back in the days when we were in offices more and I had team,
did it then,
that scenario, but not in the last, crikey, 15 years probably.
Okay. Well, I will be tonight. Let's take a break.
Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Men Talk. With me in the studio is Andreas Gallardo, Steve Holmes and Chris Arms. There's a couple of articles here talking about gardening and living the good life, like the 1970s TV show. The world may be unrecognisable from the distant days of the 1970s, but it seems our dreams of a simpler life are just the same. Back then, our yearning for a more self-sufficient lifestyle and being closer to the land was epitomised by the classic sitcom The Good Life. Apparently, it's still something that people think about. There was another article talking about more and more people, which is sort of the opposite to this, replacing their gardens, as in getting rid of all the grass, with paving. That's happening a lot more in the UK. So I wanted your thoughts on gardening and the good life. Is it something you're doing more now, or something you still think, oh yeah, maybe in later life I'll do a bit more of that, or is it not something you're interested in?
I don't get excited by gardening. It's like
No,
the garden is there to be functional, and that's kind of it. And I mean,
I think the COVID thing sort of sparked a bit of interest in growing things and looking after something. Especially if you're stuck on a balcony and you've got stuff to do and you've got something that's growing there, and it sort of sparked. I think it's definitely sparked a more interest in being more self-sufficient. A few vegetables, potatoes, and things like that. Definitely.
Nice. Yeah, I've got really into it, and not necessarily growing things to eat, although my mint is doing rather well because all the other herbs die.
I can't grow mint here.
Oh really?
No,
mint's the only thing I can.
Off.
Mint is the only thing that works here for me.
It's in the shade. You keep it shaded or something, right?
Kind of half and half.
Right, okay.
Yeah. I got a tiny little mint plant and it's grown like this big now. It's massive.
It's funny to say that because my wife was saying this morning that the rosemary bush, she can't grow a rosemary bush here to save it.
That's the other one that goes crazy here.
The rosemary bush in the garden keeps dying, and she can't understand why, and she's just got fed up and she's going to rip it out and not bother trying to grow it again.
Yeah, it's annoying when that happens.
I tried gardening years ago, and I wasn't very successful at all with it. They kept dying as well and everything. Then I heard a rumour, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard a rumour that you have to put water into the plants, you know?
Yes. Yes.
So I didn't try that because it was only a rumour. But they all died, so I gave up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was me for many, many years. I when people gave me a plant, my heart would sink because I'd thought, oh God, how long before I kill this, you know? But in the last year or so, it's one of those things nobody can kind of tell you. It just comes from within, like giving up smoking. I just thought, I want to water the plants. And literally every couple of days I go around watering everything, watering the grass as well, standing there for ages, giving the grass a good water. And I really kind of enjoy it.
Interesting. I think what I'm seeing in the UK is more and more people, concreting or over gardens.
Yeah.
Because actually car parking's so awful, and if they've got cars, the only place they can park is on their front garden. So you're seeing more of that, right? Roads are getting narrower. They're not getting wider, and garages are getting smaller.
The roads are not getting narrower. Cars are getting bigger in the same roads.
Yeah,
but
they look narrower, but they're the same.
But I think there's definitely things that get like garages getting smaller. People have got cars can't fit on the road for whatever reason, so why not concrete over the front garden so you can stick your car on it?
But I think difficult for the waters to get away because that causes sort of flooding and all the water can't drain.
Yeah, no, it's a different set of problems.
Yeah.
Right? But
one thing sort of creates another problem. So.
Yeah.
Artificial grass that's another one that I see. But there are some that are really, really good. It looks real. I've seen some. The only thing is in Spain doesn't work because when it's hot, you can't step.
Too hot to tread on.
So I guess in the UK it might work, but they make really.
They have got better, I know.
Yeah, they got really, really good. They don't. It just from a distance you think it's real, you know.
Wow.
So yeah.
And what about interior design? There's an article here: how to turn your basic bungalow into a chic dream home. Now there would be a generalisation to think that maybe this was more a woman's domain, but this is obviously not at all necessarily the case. I just wondered how often, if at all, do you think about revamping your home? Do you think, maybe we could change the colour of the walls, or we need a piece of art there, or the cushions could do with whatever? You know, do you think about that? Do you discuss those things with your partner, or does it normally come from the other person?
No, I don't think it's something that I would think about, to be fair. I get dragged along to the sort of
Leroy Merlin
hardware store and ferreteria and things to get whatever we need, but it's not been by choice.
Okay,
for sure.
I think we'd agree that. I think we walk around the house. We both agree there are things that we want to do.
Okay.
But it's like everything, right? You know, if we did everything we wanted to do, we'd be bankrupt.
Yeah.
We've got to kind of.
Yeah, it's just very expensive. It's quite funny when you go to someone's house and they show you the house. It's funny how they say what we wanted to do was, and then they explain things that they're not there. So you're looking at, we wanted to open this kitchen and make it, and then here would be a shelf and everything. And you're looking and said. Yeah, but there isn't that. Why are you telling me something?
This is what we could have done.
You're telling me your dream. Show me the house as it is.
So true.
I think we've agreed on a list of things we want to do, and it's like, and we keep knocking off bits off that list. And there are a couple of big things. Like, one of the bathrooms basically needs ripping out and rebuilding.
Yeah,
but that's that's a non-cheap experience.
No, absolutely. You can't do that for a few hundred, can you?
But you don't need to change it. Just tell people what you would want to change it to, and that makes you feel better.
That's true. Yeah.
Imagine this is all white instead of avocado colour. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, we better take another ad break.
Hannah Murray. TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You are listening to Men Talk. With me in the studio today is Andreas Gallardo, Steve Holmes and Chris Arms. We talked about trigger warnings before, but it keeps coming up and I find it unbelievable each time. Theatre goers are getting used to seeing trigger warnings before they commit to buying a ticket. But the Guildford Shakespeare Company is taking no chances when it comes to alerting audiences about its productions of David Copperfield and Frankenstein. In content guidance, rather stating the obvious, the company warns that Charles Dickens' classic contains scenes of hardship, child mistreatment, death, emotional manipulation, and alcoholism. which was kind of, they've made it sound worse than Frankenstein, which is quite clever. Frankenstein, theatre ticket buyers are warned to expect not only discussions of creation, both Christian and scientific, but also romance. They're warning people of romance, adult lifelike dolls, smoke and thunder.
Yeah, you get the warnings for theatre tickets, but you don't get any warnings for Love Island.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's like, what are you going to do? You're going to have warnings on the episode of The Traitors about there might be lying and manipulation?
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
where do you draw the line? I mean, that is just... and Dame Judi Dench isn't a fan of trigger warnings. She said a while ago, I'd see why they exist, but if you're that sensitive, don't go to the theatre. Yeah. Which I think is absolutely right. You know, if you
very wise, Judy.
Yeah, I mean, just picking up on one of those, alcoholism. So yeah, if you've got someone that's sensitive to that and is an alcoholic and struggling with seeing people drinking alcohol and stuff like that. I mean, are you really going to go to the theatre and see people drinking beer and think, oh no, I need a drink now? I mean, I don't know. I'm genuinely asking that question. I'm assuming not.
I just think, I think it's one of those phrases, and I'm going to sound old now, the world's gone mad.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Come on. I mean, and maybe, you know, it's back to the generation. I think some of this, is generational, and that it makes me sound really old.
No,
but
I agree.
Growing up as a kid, right? I mean, we didn't have cell phones. I rode my bike around at night, and my mum's comment was, "We'll come home when the streetlights come on." She had no clue where I was.
No.
And I seem to have survived okay.
Yeah.
So it feels a bit like, that does really feel like the nanny state to me a little bit.
You can understand sort of age-appropriate warnings, but stuff
definitely.
like that, just
and also, I was just thinking, you know, could there be a trigger warning that would be acceptable? And I was thinking, I suppose this wouldn't necessarily be a trigger for me, but I suppose for a lot of people it could be shocking to see, whether it's something you've experienced or not. But if you were going to see a play and there was like a violent rape scene or something in it, that's quite a big deal that could be really difficult to watch. So if it was something like that, I kind of understand, please be warned that, something like that, because a lot of people might think, oh, I'm not sure I want to see that, to be honest with you. But what was the one I said here? Child mistreatment. No, it's the one before that. Hardship. Scenes of hardship. You can't compare the two. That's just ludicrous. Who's going to be triggered by scenes of hardship?
Yeah, but it's
twist.
Yeah.
It's a little bit generational. The other day I was in Zara in La Cañada here in Marbella, and I was talking to the manager there, and she was telling me, she's a girl most about 45, 46, but her staff are very young people. And she was telling me that they're very clever for some things, like computers and all of that. They're very, very resolutive with those things. But emotionally, if you tell them they've done something wrong, they start crying straight away.
Wow.
Or if they've got a headache, they have to go home. They can't cope with that. So they're very weak in that sense, where we were quite tough in our time. As you say, we're riding bikes at night and drinking from, the
local well.
The local well, things like that. We're much tougher, but when it comes to things like technology, we are terrible and the kids are brilliant, so they got their good things.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to emotionally, they're not as prepared as we are, and then perhaps people get upset, about going to a play, and then you have to tell them, be careful because you might start crying, or you might start,
that's true.
So that could be a generational thing rather than anything else.
Yeah, there might have been multiple experiences of people leaving the theatre and complaining, saying, I didn't know I was going to see scenes like that, you should have warned me. Maybe that has happened multiple times over the last 10 years.
Probably, with younger people, I guess it does, yeah.
I'm sure you would know if you're going to a theatre, you've got an idea of what it's about.
Well, yeah.
What's going to happen?
You'd think, yeah.
I think the age-appropriate, cinema-style rating thing, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And you see that on productions in the West End in London, right? But I think I mean, that's more trigger warnings than you get on a cinema film. I mean, if you go to the cinema, they're rated, but you don't see this. You don't see a long list of 3 pages of this might contain the following scenes. It has an age appropriate rating, as you were saying.
Yeah, but you get Netflix, for instance, and they give you these warnings at the top where it says violence, drug use, or whatever, and they're so mild because when you see it, you think, "Oh my God, this is my kind of film." And then you watch the film.
There's someone smoking.
None of it.
Shocking.
The definition of drug use: popping an aspirin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Netflix because I was watching one last night and it had those warnings, but then the next warning came up says this contains product placement.
Oh yes,
What's all that about?
Oh, that's a thing. But I find that really weird. So so it means. So do you know what it is? How it kind of works?
Somebody's left a bottle of fairy liquid on the counter or something.
Yeah, but they pay for it. So if there's someone standing at the sink washing up, it could be that Fairy has paid to see that. So you see the brand Fairy Liquid, and the person uses Fairy Liquid for the washing up.
Yeah, but they do it.
Tomato ketchup.
Why do I need a warning though? Am I going to go out and? Maybe I'm going to go out and buy Fairy Liquid.
I suppose it's just telling you that it's there for advertising purposes as opposed to just a random prop.
Okay.
No, they pay for it. I mean, car makes as well, BMW.
Yeah, the cars that are
they would contribute towards the cost of the film, as long as they can have the product in it.
So if someone's on a laptop, you'll see like the Apple on the other side. Apple have probably paid for it to be an Apple laptop as opposed to a Dell computer or something. That happens.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, one more and then we'll take the final break. We charge guests £745 to attend our wedding, and hundreds turned up. This couple this couple said that they charge £42 for a normal ticket, but the 745 was the VIP. But what you got for the VIP sounds horrendous to me. Vows and VIP, £745 per couple, for 3 days of wedding events that included a relationship retreat. I mean, why would you going to someone else's wedding? Why would you want to? It's just hilarious. A relationship retreat with expert speakers, authors and therapists, the rehearsal dinner and a biohacking brunch, which is a meal designed to optimise physical and mental performance. The day after the wedding with brain optimisation stations and a drum circle. Plus you get priority seating.
There we go.
Have you ever been charged for a wedding?
No.
What would your reaction be?
No, I don't think I'd go. But now I know how to fund my daughter's upcoming wedding. Excellent idea. It's like I haven't printed the invites, but we'll go. I'll go home and we'll think about tiers of attendees, and if people want to upgrade, they can pay extra. Yes.
I mean, nobody seemed to mind it. I once was invited to a wedding where we had to pay, and we didn't go. We thought that's so weird. I mean, I guess it's one of those things because it's not normal. It seems really shocking. And if it became normal, it would just be normal. It's just the fact that it's not at all.
It would be funny. Yeah, but I mean, what shall we do this weekend? So let's see what weddings are on. Oh, there's an Indian wedding. I like that. We'll go to that one. How much is it?
I still think it's invite only.
And then you got what do you get for the £42?
The £42 allows you access to the ceremony and party at the lovely rural venue they'd picked. So that's all you want, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good idea. 42, I mean, you get a meal.
It's not bad when you look at it like that. 42, and you're getting a meal and drinks and a party.
Yeah, they'll have music and dancing and other people. I think
it's not the cost.
I'm up for that.
Okay, it's not the cost that's crazy with that side of things. It's just the fact that it's
the
totally
concept of paying to go to somebody's wedding.
I mean, it costs you enough to go, right? Because often you have to travel.
Yes.
You've got to stay over.
Buy an outfit, a present.
And there's always new clothes involved, and there's always a present. So, okay, it might be charging £42 a head for the wedding, but that's forgetting the 300 or 400 quid it's cost you to actually attend each on top of that.
Definitely. Can be really expensive. I can't imagine doing that unless it becomes a normal thing, and then we'll forget what it used to be like. Okay, we better take a break.
Hannah Murray. TRE in the afternoon.
Well, we've just been having a fascinating discussion about giving money at weddings as a present and how much to give and how that's come up in conversation. And I'm really shocked at what Andreas was just saying. A Spanish wedding.
Yeah, one of the discussions that you have is you donate money to the wedding, yeah? The problem is how much, and everyone will have their opinion, but you mentioned an amount, you said 50 euros per person. I said to you, Hannah, no, that is too little. You'd be...
Wow.
The average, I'll guess, is about 200 per person.
That's crazy.
And we went, the last one we went to, the morning of the wedding, we actually all the groom's friends, we all ride bikes. So we went road biking in the morning before the wedding at like some ridiculous hour of the morning because you can, because the weather's nice. And then as we were sitting having a coffee, we would go, and the groom was there, and we sent him to buy the coffees, and we were saying, well, we're all going, how much money are we all bringing? And the expats were all kind of were being guided by the Spaniards as to what was appropriate for this person's wedding, and there is a whole sort of process behind it and a whole what's the right level. And from memory, I think we all settled on 300 per person. So
That's insane.
Yeah, but you have to be careful here because there's always someone who'll distort the market. And there's someone who says, "Oh, I'll give, we'll be 500," and you think, "Oh my God, if he's going to give 500, I'm going to look really cheap if I do 200." So you have to be.
I'm sorry.
You have to stand your ground on that.
Surely it depends how much money you've got. I mean, that's crazy. That's a holiday for me. Do you know what I mean? There's absolutely no way I would or could give that kind of money going to a wedding.
That £42 wedding sounds like a bargain.
Yeah, definitely. I'd definitely go to that. With our wedding, we got... People kindly gave us money, which is really nice for a honeymoon, and the average person probably did about 50 euros per person, which we thought was wonderful and lovely. And there was a few couples who had a bit more, who had money, who gave us like 250 euros, and we were like, wow, that's so kind. We couldn't believe that. And you're saying that's not much. That's just unbelievable.
No, that's just 50 euros. I wouldn't go. I would make my excuses and say, look, I can't go with 50 euros. No. It's got to be, I guess, look, 200 for me would be the amount.
How well do you need to know this person to be giving them?
Well, if you're invited to the wedding, you know them well, no? I guess.
Well,
otherwise, they won't invite you to the wedding.
Well, yeah, but we had 135 people at our wedding.
You could have made good money there.
I could if I invited you and your friends, yeah.
Have to have a rerun,
we'll redo the wedding vows in a couple of years. Can you do it then? Can you ask for money then?
We went to a wedding in the UK back in Easter, and they had a traditional wedding list, right? But there was nothing on that wedding list that was cheap. I mean, it was like the cost of, and it reminds you of what the cost of things has become, right?
Yeah.
You look at the things on the wedding list and you go, really, is that how much one of those costs now? Because it's kind of unbelievable. So I think it's... The first Spanish wedding you go to is definitely interesting because it's very
But it used to be they give you a shop where they would put together a number of presents and then you go and choose one, and depending on your economy and your finances, you would choose one or another. You could
get them like a spoon,
the fridge freezer or a glass, and then whatever you can afford is what you buy until they run out of options on the thing. But that has been scrapped and is now cash.
It's mainly because I think couples are together for longer before they get married, so people don't need toasters
before they get married. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've got everything, so what they want is cash, and the problem is how much cash do you give for the wedding, and that keeps going up and up.
Steve, what's your experience been with money for weddings?
Well, I've never given cash, that's for sure.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I've never given cash. I always a present, usually.
Yeah.
Any invitations coming up?
Must have not been for a while.
Andreas gets loads.
Well, if you get married again, Andreas, you come to marry.
Andreas is fully booked every weekend now for the rest of the year for weddings.
And you can do the catering as well.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I thought. That wedding that you said in the newspaper, the 42 euros will get you to a wedding as well. I'll go to that one. It's a cheap one.
Sounds really good. Wow, I'm really shocked at that. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes left to touch on this very awkward, difficult one. The headline reads, I loathe my best friend's lumbering bozo of a husband, but here's why I'll never tell her. And basically, I read the article, and the whole thing is just talking about how kind of horrible her best friend's husband is. He's not nice, he makes jokes, he's kind of rude to his wife, commenting on her putting on weight. He's kind of rude to most women, and she just doesn't like him at all, doesn't like being around him. But she doesn't obviously want to tell her friend that. What are your thoughts on that situation? Is it something you should ever say to your friend, oh, your partner's a bit of a whatever, or never?
Sounds like a real tough one, that.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I wouldn't know what to do.
It's a TV series, actually.
It could be. It could be.
I think it's difficult, right? It depends. It ultimately depends what relationship you have with the person and how they're going to react, and only you're going to know that. Yeah. But I think, to be honest, most people in that situation would just do what is suggested there, which is, avoid contact with the individual, which it sounds like their solution is. It's like, just avoid being at events, or you're invited to a wedding or a party with them. You have something else to do that weekend.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because she wants to be with her friend, she wants to hang out with her friend, but if she's bringing the husband and it's like a couple's thing, then the other couple are like, oh god, he's going to be there.
Yeah,
have you had that situation? Because it's more of a lady thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe a bit, not massively, but maybe a bit. I suppose it's come up a few times, but not like a really. Some people's wives you sometimes get on your nerves, and you can't definitely.
stand it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the men for sure. Yeah, no, it would be really tricky.
Yeah.
Really tricky to try and. I mean, I would never tell the person. I would never say to the person, "Your husband's an idiot," or "Your wife annoys the hell out of me," or whatever. I would never ever do that.
No, you can't. Also, you can't do that. You can't interfere in a relationship.
I agree with you. She drives you nuts as well.
That's true, actually. But no, I just think you have to be diplomatic about these things sometimes, where possible.
Diplomacy.
Yes, exactly. Thank you all very much for coming in today. Thank you, Andreas. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And Howard Brereton is coming up next with Spain Today, and then I will be following him with The Book Show, 2 hours of book fun with a slight Halloween theme. Happy Halloween.
You've been listening to a TRE production. If you've enjoyed this programme, there'll be another episode waiting for you next week, right here on this platform, where you can also access our extensive back catalogue of shows and interviews. For more information on our live programming, social media channels and apps, and how to contact Talk Radio Europe, please visit tre.radio.